And we are on. This is the Great Classic Movie Debate. We are the sister channel of the Great Classic Rock Debate. I'm Kenny.
Paul, what kind of sister channel is it?
Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister. Sorry, D. Snyder. Don't kill us.
Don't
get mad at us, D. Snyder.
Yes. And I guess we're going to just, we're going to fly a duo tonight as opposed to the trio. Steve is out of town or something right now.
Yes.
He'll be back with us next time. Okay, if you happen to be watching, please like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you check out our other channel, the Great Classic Rock Debate, if you haven't already. Okay, so here's where we're going to start tonight. A couple of nights ago, that channel called the AMC, which is American Movie Channel or American Movie Classics or whatever it stands for, I'm not sure. If it's classics, then they're using a very broad definition of the word classics, which is fine. But I think that they probably show a lot of movies that are not necessarily classics, but yeah, so be it. That's just me. They were showing the latest installment in the Rambo series, which is called, I've got it right here, Rambo Last Blood. Okay? Now, I bring this up because I remember a few years back, it was 2019, I checked, at the time this movie was released, it got really awful reviews. And I thought to myself, man, it's too bad. I hate to see Stallone lose it like that because I've been a fan for most of the years. He's made some bad movies, but I've been a fan, and he's getting older now, which is we all are, but I just don't want to think that he can no longer make decent movies. So I was disappointed to see those reviews. Now, I'm going to go back quickly to something I said on our very first episode, and that is I want to try to always differentiate between movies that are made with the intent, at least, a high cinematic quality versus movies that are made to be entertaining, okay? Because you invented this phrase, I think you invented it, said, just turn your brain off and watch the movie and enjoy. And so many times that has proven to be really good advice because my expectation may have been off kilter, and by shutting my brain off and not expecting the movie to necessarily make sense and just taking it in visually or whatever, it's a whole different experience. And I wanted to revisit that simply because most of the Rambo movies, I think, sort of fit that bill. The first one, which was called Just First Blood, it didn't have the name Rambo.
What, Just First Blood?
The first one, which was called, it's all right, you got me, First Blood, and it did not have the word Rambo in the title. And I think it was probably a surprise hit. I don't think they expected it to do the kind of box office that it did. So that one was from 1982.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you know, because I didn't know it at the time, but did you know that it was not a remake, but there had been a movie a year or two before with that guy, Dirk, an actor named Dirk something or other. He was
Benedict?
Dirk Benedict. Yeah, that was the original, and it was a flop. It did not do well at the box office, and it was campy, and it really wasn't very good. It was kind of stupid. So they scrapped that and redid it with Stallone and made it a much more high intensity kind of movie, whatever. And man, what a difference. I cannot recall. I don't recall the name of the one with Dirk Benedict. I could look it up, but it was kind of the same movie.
It was called Battlestar Galactica: Second Blood.
Right, that was it. Now
I like Dirk Benedict. I do. I like you.
Oh,
I like that guy.
I like him too. He was not the right choice for that movie. Plus, like I said, the entire thing was kind of campy. They tried to inject unnecessary humor, unfunny humor, you might say also. So anyway, First Blood takes off, makes a lot of money, and it's just perpetuating Stallone's box office power, because it's becoming clear at this point in time, by 82, that if he does a lot of scenes with no shirt on, man, that will carry the movie, regardless if the plot is or isn't necessarily all that great. So 85, it was the early part of 85 was when they released the next Rambo, which was called Rambo First Blood Part 2, correct?
Yeah, because it was May, I think, because I was supposed to study me. I'll tell you, so I had this 3 people, another guy and this girl named Vivian, and we had a study group for accounting. We had one of the hardest teachers at Auburn, and I was so sick of studying. This girl was awesome. She kept on me, study, and I had the worst study habits. And so I said, that's it. I'm going to sneak out. I'm not going to tell him or her. And I went to see Rambo. Me in bad weather went to see it. And we sneak, when the theater's completely full, we're like near the front row. All of a sudden I can hear this, hey, are you supposed to be studying for accounting tonight? And I look back and it's my study partner. He's like 8 rows back. I'm like, oh my God.
Now tell me this, how are you certain that was May of 1985?
Well, or it was June, because
no, it was May.
Because that's when it would have been the final in that class.
Okay.
That's what we're studying for.
Okay, all right. It was May because I saw it the day after the 1985 Mr. West Palm Beach contest. So I was out late that night. The show ended, and then I went out and whatever, hung out. And the next day I slept late, and I went to see Rambo the next day. Here's where the story gets. I thought it was awesome. I'm a 24-year-old guy who's into bodybuilding. And here's Stallone, juiced up and looking great. And there's lots of action and violence. So I thought the movie was great. I get him from the movie, and within an hour after getting home, who comes on TV? Siskel and Ebert, who systematically destroy this movie and talk about how god-awful and how terrible it was, which angered me because I had just seen it and I loved it. I thought it was great. That was one of the reasons, because that memory sticks in my head, and I suppose always will. It's one of the reasons I insist on, anytime I'm assessing a movie, I want to look at it from more than one angle. Is it like an Oscar-worthy type of movie, or is it intended to just be fun and entertaining and adventurous? Whatever. I want to have different scales on which I judge it. So that was when I decided, okay, these movie critics are idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. That movie was great. So I've been a fan of the Rambo series. Now, I'm going to fast forward because I guess Rambo 3 came out around 88. Is that about right? Okay.
That one didn't age well.
Okay, fair enough. But at the time, it carried on the Rambo tradition, meaning lots of action, lots of violence, and Stallone looked fantastic.
Dead
body
Russians.
fat was 0. Yeah. So anyway, now I'm going to fast forward to 2008. And this was the one that was just titled Rambo. One word. There was no first blood or anything. It was just Rambo, right? And it did not get particularly good reviews. So I said, maybe that idea has gotten played out. So I'm not going to see that movie. Listen, there's a finite number of hours in the day. So you've got to use whatever tools you can to decide which movies I'm going to fit in and I'm going to watch and which ones I'm not going to make the cut. So in this particular case, Rambo, the 2008 Rambo, did not make the cut. Not too long after that, I spoke to you. I don't even remember how the topic came up.
Maybe your house, I think, or something.
I think so. And I think you mentioned it, and I said, yeah, I heard it was terrible. And you looked at me. You looked at me as if I was retarded. And you go, are you kidding? That movie was great. And I go, oh, that's not what I heard. And the reviews were pretty universally bad. And you go, no, you got to stop listening to those guys. So, and what, did you have it on DVD? Is that?
Yeah, or you got it. Yeah, because I said, all right, do this. Watch like the first 10, 15 minutes.
Yes, that's what
And
you
then,
said.
yeah. When he's on the boat and he pulls out that knife, he just starts tap. Like,
Okay.
you're like, okay. I said, you're sucked in. It's over.
Right. Okay, so that's exactly what happened. You had it on DVD and said, just watch the first 15 minutes. And if you don't like it, we'll take it off. I said, okay. We started watching it, and I couldn't believe how good it was. First of all, it stays with the Rambo tradition. Lots of action, lots of violence, but they ramped up the violence, buddy. Make no mistake. And Stallone, listen, no matter what you think of him, he's been in some terrible movies, but he has a gift for becoming a certain character and then staying that character throughout the series. I mean, he is Rambo to the T in every one of those movies. He never breaks it. He never becomes a softer, kinder, gentler version. He's Rambo all the way. And that movie was great. You know, I don't care what Siskel and Ebert or any of the other critics may think of it. If I'm going to see a movie and my expectation is I don't need the intellectual element, I just want a lot of action and a fair amount of violence and the bad guys getting justice.
Yeah.
Rambo delivers in every way possible. You will walk out of the theater smiling and happy that you saw that movie. Okay? Now, fast forward to 2019, or for me, just a few days ago, because American Movie Classics is showing Rambo Last Blood. And in 2019, when that movie was released, got terrible reviews. Perhaps I'm a slow learner, but the reviews were really bad, and I made the decision not to see the movie because I'm like, all right, well, maybe that whole idea has gotten stale. So it comes on American Movie Classics, and I start watching it, and I watched at least 30 or 40 minutes of it, but I had to leave, and I called you because I was on my way, actually on my way to the gym to work out. I called you, and I said, "Did you ever see this movie, Rambo Last Blood?" Okay, you can go from there.
Oh, yeah, I saw it in. Did I see it? I can't remember if I saw it in the theater. No, I bought it. It's somewhere in my giant 2000 DVD collection.
Right.
And then I really liked it, but I didn't have time. You know, like you said, that's one of the most profound things. That's going to go in a movie, what he just said, because I need that for a movie.
Okay.
What you just said. I'm going to take that. So I was on an airplane, and there was this guy. You could tell he was in the military. He's kind of buff, not quite as old as I am. I said, "Man, it's a really good movie." He goes, "You see it?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Here, come sit next to me." So I was at Southwest. I moved over, and he gave me one of the earbuds, and we watched the movie. We were like, "Yeah, look at the theater." And that's the thing that's missing now, like, you know, with the movie experience. And like I saw, diverting a little bit, Die Hard in a cinema draft house in Dallas, Texas.
The first Die Hard?
Yeah. It was
okay.
like a week or 2 or 3 after it came out. And it was the greatest movie watching experience ever. People, yeah, you get that boy, you come down. All these, you know, not rich, these white rednecks like me were yelling out, and it was so vocal.
Right.
And the other experience, which was kind of when you and I saw Purple Rain.
Oh, right.
There's that scene where Prince is behind.
Wait. Before you say it, do you recall where we sat?
It was across county, right?
Yeah. No? We got the very last tickets. We were in the front row watching it like this.
I have a great memory.
The line was so long, I'm like, we're not going to get in. And we got up there. They said the only seats remaining are in the front row. And I looked at you and you said, "Let's go." So that was it. We sat in the very front row and watched it like this.
And the audience was mostly black.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he's behind her, kissing her on her neck, and he's grabbing her beautiful breasts. And the audience en masse go, "Get it, Prince! Get it, Prince! Go get her, Prince!" And like, they were cheering him on in a movie.
Right.
Like, I said, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
This is awesome.
You and I had never really experienced that whole audience participation thing like we did that night.
Well, the only other time I experienced it, I went to see Game of Death in like 1978 at the Florida Theater, downtown West Palm Beach.
I remember that, yeah.
There were 500 people in the theater, and 3 of us were white. The other 497 were black.
Right.
And I had never seen a Bruce Lee movie. I had no idea what's going to happen. I remember that
Right.
he was killed making this movie. So my friend Louis, who knows everything about this stuff, he goes, any scene that he's talking around, that's not Bruce Lee. He gets to the pavilion where he has to go up each stairs and kill somebody. That's Bruce Lee. So remember, he has to kill Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right.
So after he kills Kareem, you can hear the audience like going, "Oh, that ain't cool, man." And people were like, "Man," I'm like, "We might be killed getting out of here."
Right.
And then my friend's like, "It's just," he yelled out, Louis, like, "It's just a movie. It's not reality."
Right.
And people started laughing, like, "Okay, yeah, you got us," like, and we got out. There was no problem. He's like, "It's just a movie. It's not really happening." So,
right.
But the audience participation, like,
Die
oh
Hard.
boy, yeah, but Die Hard, but like also, what was I gonna say?
Well, in Die Hard, they were Germans, weren't they? The villains, the bad guys.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So
but I was just gonna say, like,
it's easy to hate those guys.
Remember The Warriors? That movie.
Of course.
That movie caused so much consternation at the movie theater. My battery's dying. I had to move.
Okay.
So because the audio, I guess some of these games are real in real life. I don't know. I'm not from New York. I don't know the games. So anyway, I'm digressing. So about First Blood, that script, I did not know what you said about Dirk Benedict and everything, but the problem, that script was in what they call development hell. So they went through like 8 or 9 writers, if I can remember in my memory.
Okay.
And so you know who was one of the last credited writers is James Cameron.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he got involved, and if we ever get James Cameron on the show, he could tell us about it. He's a real nice man. Like, I met him once in the airport, Salt Lake City. He talked to him for about 2 minutes. He was very nice to me because people don't talk to directors; they walk right by him. Now James Cameron's 6'4", so he's hard to miss.
Right.
So anyway, he's very nice to me. So maybe we get him on the show in a year or two, Fantasyland. But yeah, he was somehow he is such a visceral writer. It's one of the things that Hollywood misses now, this visceral writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just, how the cop won't let Rambo be alone.
Right.
Just
right.
leave the guy alone and let him leave him alone. Yeah, he'll just walk on. It'll be somebody else's problem. You gotta mess with somebody, right? You don't know who you're messing with.
Right.
He's not stealing anything. He didn't break anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost, you're gonna laugh now, Billy Jack-ish in a weird way.
Right.
Like, this guy supposedly, remember in the movie, Rambo's half Native American.
Right.
Like Billy Jack was.
Right. Wow, I forgot about that. That's right.
So he didn't wear the jacket with the frizzies. Remember that?
Right. Yeah.
We went to this real Civil War reenactment one time, and this guy came out there.
Tell me.
Oh my God, this guy thought it was 18. Look, it was Civil War. The South lost. That's it. Right? So this reenactment, this guy's out there and he's wearing the brown jacket with the frilly things hanging. That's what Billy Jack wore. Right. And when he walked up, he started talking redneck talk. And I'm a redneck myself, but I don't talk like that. And so my friend's there, and I go, "Look, it's Silly Jack, not Billy Jack." And they put their heads down because they can't laugh. They can't try not to laugh,
Right.
And then they see where in this little skirmish, the South wins, and when the South's coming, they go, "Get each other the North, get ready to go down." Like, dude, easy, just easy, my brother.
Right.
It's like, So anyway, so let's go back to Rambo. Yeah, I love the movie. Brian Denny, he was awesome.
And he was fairly unknown at that time, but man, his career took off after that.
But it's just a fun. I don't know, and I peripherally worked in Hollywood. I don't really know the answer to it, other than, well, he's in that movie. I'll put him in my movie because remember he was in that Cocoon. He was in Bestseller, which we'll talk about another time.
Oh my gosh,
he had about 25 movies, and he was in Silverado. And now you couldn't find him with a private detective. Now he's an older man. I understand that, but at some point it was weird.
Yeah,
you never saw him
again. He passed away a few years ago.
I always liked the guy.
Yeah,
totally liked him.
Yeah, good actor.
It's just a weird phenomenon. A guy gets hot for 10 years, and then you can't find him. Maybe they take all these actors to Antarctica and hide them there. It is weird, but anyway, he was great. David Caruso's in that movie. He plays one of the sheriff
Right,
deputies.
right, yeah, yeah. Totally unknown at that time.
And
yeah.
the other guy, and I liked how the guy was like, "Look, this guy's a warrior. What are you doing to him?" You know,
Right.
which is we can talk about this again. That's what the underlying currents of The Godfather. Michael Corleone was a Marine in World War II, and he had like he won medals and shit. He killed Japs and he saved a bunch of people's lives. So that's why The Godfather, when they're coming, because he's a warrior.
Right. Right.
You know, and remember, and they're all arguing with Michael Corleone. Why did you just sign up for the army? He goes, I did. Or for the Marines. He goes, I did sign up. And then they start arguing, why did you sign up and all that stuff. So all that feeds into this really, the Rambo. And I think Stallone, remember in Vietnam, he was in Switzerland. It was like a massage therapist or something in Switzerland.
I don't know.
That's what and at the time I didn't realize all these writers, these movie critics hate him. They hate that man. This is back then.
Right.
Because when Rambo 2 blew up, you saw all these bios saying what a piece of crap he is, bad human being. And, and I didn't realize even back then there was a political situation going on. I didn't understand.
Right.
And I think he loves this country, and he wanted to show what happened to a lot of our soldiers. They get back and they get discarded. And, right now, like 22 soldiers a day are killing themselves right now.
Yeah.
It's horrific.
I agree. I agree.
And,
well,
go ahead.
Well, he has a gift for being able to push the emotional buttons, because a movie like Rocky 4, where he fights Drago, the Russian, and the Russian people are chanting Rocky. Rocky. It's so absurd, but he totally gets a pass because he's pushed all your emotional buttons by that time. And as unrealistic as the scene is, it doesn't even, I mean, it's silly. I'll agree, but it doesn't make me like the movie any less. I don't care. He's just so good at that. So now back to Rambo: Last Blood, 2019. So the movie starts, and I'm like, he basically just took this from Taken. It's his niece, not his daughter, and she's kidnapped and human trafficked or whatever, and now he's gonna go get her back. And he doesn't have any of these great one-liners like, I will find you and I will kill you. but it's basically, the setup is basically the same as Taken, but then it plays out in a way where the violence is so much more. It's like Taken on steroids, I guess is the way that I would describe it.
Yeah. The thing where he sets up the whole house in the tunnels.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's the last thing, just for people, unless you have an army and you got artillery and tanks, the last thing you ever want to do is to go into somebody's house, especially out in the wilderness, or not in the wilderness, but you could tell someone built that house for themselves, and that's a lot. You don't want to go in that house, right? You
booby trapped, totally booby trapped.
I'd be like, no, we're gonna get a tank, and we're gonna,
the
ATF agents who tried to go into Waco,
right?
Get the GD Delta Force, sign the Posse Comitatus Act, let them come in and go clear those people out. That's what they do. ATF does not design for that. Now they have military guys designed for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to pontificate. But yeah, so I like the first movie better. I really do, because it's an actual movie where.
You mean First Blood?
Yes, where.
Okay.
He's in America. It's like a metaphor for bringing the war here.
Right.
United States. When you hear, like when I was a kid, my sensei at karate was a very decorated American soldier, and he had killed some VC or NVAs, and the stuff he's telling me, I'm like a 10 or 11-year-old kid. He's like, yeah, they shot me a bunch of times. I went in the foxhole and stabbed them to death. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
You're a little kid. I'm a little kid. I think it's really cool, but at the same time, you're like, wow. So then this guy, I think I don't know if I told you this, but when I came home, one day I went to see my sensei. He worked used to be a garden store. You know where the Music Man is, right near like 25th Street or 30th Street in West Palm Beach, or is that a little bit further in Northwood? I'm not sure if you know where this is. US 1. Anyway. There used to be a garden store right next door to it. and he
Okay.
worked in the garden department, the garden store.
Okay.
This is guy, a highly decorated Vietnam veteran, who's working at a garden store. I started crying a little bit to my mom. And then my dad had to take me aside, okay, and just explain to me, because you're a good soldier doesn't mean you have the skills for the workplace, and I was just devastated. That's kind of what Stallone's talking about in the movie, right?
Right. Right.
Because do all this cool stuff and helicopters and this, that, and now he's come back. He doesn't even have a job, right?
Right.
And all of his buddies are dead. It's depressing. In the second movie, he just starts killing everybody, which is fine with me.
Right.
Totally.
Right.
Turn my brain off, watch him kill. And we always in Rambo. I don't know if it was you who said it or I think it was you who goes, "How does he?" There's a scene in there where he hides himself in the mud, and the Russians are walking right past him, and he just.
Right.
I think it's you said, "How does he get the last patch of mud on his face
Right.
to know that he's not thinking?"
Right.
Does he have a mirror? Okay, I'm pretty good
Right.
here.
Right. Yeah. At some point in time, you run out of, you can't. But he was fully encased in mud. So that's something that only Rambo knows how to do. Oh, and by the way, the final in the Rocky series before Creed, not including Creed, but before Creed, the final one, which was called Rocky Balboa. Did you see that one?
No, it's got Antonio Tarver in it, right?
Correct, Antonio Tarver. Yeah. I cannot recommend this movie strongly enough. Okay.
Oh, really?
Because when I told you how he just has a gift for knowing how to push your emotional buttons.
Yeah.
This movie is just a classic showcase in his ability to do that. I mean, the plot is kind of absurd. I'm not disputing that, but man, he just draws you in, and it's supposed to be just an exhibition, but this guy is not going to let the old man show him up. And so they're both more serious about it than anybody expects them to be. And they go at it, and it is really good. It's really, really good. Not realistic at all, not making the case. Shut your brain off if you have to, but I'm telling you, good movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a very fitting end to that series, considering how bad the one with Tommy Morrison had been.
I like parts of that movie with Tommy Morrison. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Stallone, he's got like the same thing as Burt Reynolds. Like, the man is a damn good actor.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And it hurts me. Like, if you read like behind the scenes of Nighthawks, which I think is Stallone's best movie, far and away, more than all the. I can watch that movie every friggin' night. I love that movie.
Yeah.
And evidently there were a bunch of scenes with him and Rutger Hauer and he supposedly got jealous. I don't know where he removed a bunch of scenes of Rutger Hauer in the movie, and it's like he got in his own head, I think maybe. And but I love that movie. God, I love that movie.
That's good.
The ending's one of the best endings in any movie ever. And that movie, that movie's really good because Stallone's character's got to use his brain.
Right.
He's not going around shooting everybody and cut this guy's head off and blowing that guy up with a bomb. He's got to outsmart this, right? He's got to outsmart.
Well, that's the thing. Throughout the movie, Wolfgar, that's his name, right?
Yeah, very good. Ahead of him, yeah.
He's always 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead. And Stallone and Billy D. Williams is the opposite him. They're not going to be able to catch him until they can get a step ahead of him. And so that's how it plays out. And man, what a great ending. Really, really.
Man, that scene where he cuts, if I watch it now, I'll start to cry a little bit, where he cuts Billy D, because that's his boy, that's his man.
Yeah.
And he just says that same 3 words, "You're effing dead," like 20 times in a row.
Yeah.
And the terrorist can hear him. He knows he's going to kill him. Like, they was going to try, but he's like, "I'm not going to arrest you. I'm just going to kill you." Like, man, that movie gets me fired up, man. That was Stallone or Copland. If you ever see
Copland was great.
Stallone.
It's another movie that didn't have a huge box office, but man, what a good movie. Really
Stallone should have won an Academy Award for that.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God. And that's what I'm trying to say. The man can act.
Yeah.
And he's also a very rich man.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of,
yeah.
And it's like Costner in back in the day when he made like Waterworld and he made these other movies. Entertainment, right? It's entertainment.
Right,
It's
right.
Business, show entertainment, not show.
Right.
And the first movie, the first Rambo, I liked how he used what he had. He didn't have right away. He didn't have nothing, right? I think he had a knife.
Yeah.
And then he had to build booby traps and cops going into a forest like that. That's what he wants.
Right.
Right. Okay, here's what I want to happen. I'm going to give me a 1-day head start in the jungle, and then you come and get me. Okay. Right. That's what I want to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
They,
okay.
Second.
Well, we got our warning, so we need to wrap up. Finish your thought, and then we're gonna do our honorary Oscars.
No, you go ahead for your honorary Oscar. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Well, I can't think of a more apropos choice than Richard Crenna because just in case you don't recognize his name, he plays Troutman, Rambo's commanding officer in all of the Rambo movies. Certainly First Blood 2, Rambo 3. I don't remember what he's in after that, but he was in the spoof. There was a spoof movie with Charlie Sheen.
Oh, yes.
He played Troutman in that movie too. Anyway, the scene in, I'm pretty sure it was First Blood, where he's talking to Brian Dennehy, whose name is Sheriff Teasel. Isn't it Teasel? Isn't that his name?
Teasel. Yeah, Teasel. Yeah.
He says, if you send all those men in after Rambo, you should try to remember one more thing: lots of body bags.
Good supply of body bags. Yeah.
Good supply of body, whatever. He says that with such a, I mean, that scene alone, he deserves an honorary Oscar for that. It was just great, but he delivers all his lines just like that, as if you can't even fathom what you're dealing with, and you're going to do it anyway. So he's perfect at that. The scene in the spoof movie with Charlie Sheen, I can't think the name of the movie now, but
Part 2 or no. Go ahead.
But there's
Hot Shots Part 2, no.
Hot Shots. That's it. There's a scene where somebody says to him, who are those 3 guys over there? And he says, well, the one guy is a special forces, the other 2 are extras. But he says it with that exact same delivery that he uses all his lines. So anyway, my honorary Oscar goes to Richard Crenna for playing Troutman in the Rambo movies. Go ahead.
All right, my honorary Oscar goes to Donnie Yen, Chinese martial arts master, who's in John Wick 4, which we'll talk about another time.
Okay.
And it's ironic, in this movie, I'm not going to tell you anything, spoilers, he plays a blind guy.
Okay.
It's the same character he played in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, a blind guy.
Okay.
So he's like, yeah, I really like that blind guy thing for Star Wars. I'm just going to bring it over here. And I was trying to explain to my wife, having Donnie Yen in is like having Bruce Lee. Do you might have a Star Wars movie with Bruce Lee in it? This is about what happened. And you saw Rogue One, right?
Yes, you made me. Yes, it was so good.
And because he keeps saying, I'm with the Force is with me. I'm with the Force. And he knows the Force is going to let him do what he needs to do. Then he's going to get killed. But I'm telling you what, for this John Wick movie, he needs to have an award. He needs to have Best Supporting Actor.
Okay.
Because his English is really good, right? I guess, and he says some really, really funny stuff in the movie because he's blind, and it's just like, remember in Rogue One they put a blindfold over him,
right?
And he's like,
right.
I'm blind, I can't see. So I'm gonna put a blindfold over me. See, who says Star Wars can't be funny? So that's my award. He's in a bunch of other fantastic movies, as you know, and a movie. Oh my God, Hard Boiled. John Woo movie came out about 20 years ago.
I remember it.
He's in that. Him and Chow. And let me say it right. Chow Yun Fat. That's how you say Chow Yun Fat's name in Chinese.
Right.
So I would want to know that.
Okay. So, good nomination. I like that. Okay. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to go see John Wick probably this weekend again.
Okay. Oh, again. All right. That's right. Because you've already seen it. It must be good. Okay. Well, then I've got to get to it sometime in the next week or two, hopefully. Okay. Well, then that's going to be a wrap for this week. This is the Great Classic Movie Debate. I'm Kenny.
I'm Paul, and Kenny's the greatest moderator ever.
Well, thank you. If you're watching, please like, comment, and subscribe. We thank you for watching. Until we meet again, we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.